जिस तरह से घटनाक्रम हुई वो पूरी डिटेल में आपसे जानना चाहेंगे।
ठीक है, तो on 30th of September, I first landed in Uganda, and that I had first arrived there from London. I had spent about a week with family, and I had come to basically commission the unit. So to start up the distillation. So 1st of October was when I was meant to start up the distillation of the plant. Instead, I was awoken by my admin manager telling me that there's a lot of police guys outside the gate, and they're not going away. Okay, and then after a little while, I told my parents about this. They were trying to work things out, that what do these guys want? Why are they outside our gate? I see 20 policemen storm inside the plant. Okay, and about 10 of those are armed. They're carrying AK-47s with them. So I leave my house, I go up to them, and I ask them why they're here. And for the first time, I'm getting an answer as to why they're here. They tell me that they're here on a yellow diffusion or a missing person's notice sent to them. And I was like, okay, what does that have to do with me? Why are you here on my site? And they tell me, we're going to do a raid. So I said, do you have a search warrant? Yeah, aapke paas search warrant hai. They were like, no, we don't have. But we are the Ugandan police. We can do anything. You are not in Europe anymore. You are now in Uganda. So I say that you have to wait for my lawyer. My lawyer eventually comes, and even though they don't have a search warrant, I allow them to do the raid. They spend about 3-4 hours doing this raid. They wake up all of our employees that are sleeping. We have 3 shifts. So they wake up the people that were in night shift, knocking on their doors, banging on their doors, looking underneath their bed, looking underneath their blanket. They even went to the roof. They opened the roof up. They looked inside the roof. They sent one guy on top of the roof also to have a look if there's anyone there. They didn't find anything. All right. Then when I'm like, okay, you didn't find anything, so can you please leave now? Because you've disturbed, everyone that was here, and you've basically disturbed me my whole day. They're like, no, you have to come back with us. I'm like, why do I have to come back with you? Then he said, oh, our director at Interpol wants to have a meeting with you. So I say, I don't want to have a meeting with her right now. I can have one tomorrow, or I can have one, later on. I even say that my father can come down instead to meet her. You don't need me, to meet her. Then he says, no, it has to be you, and it has to be right now. So I say, I'm not going with you right now. I've not showered. I've not eaten anything. I've not used the toilet. You've been here at my factory since like 5 a.m. to now it's like 12 p.m. I'm not going anywhere with you. Then they tell me we can do this the hard way, or we can do this the easy way. So I say, what is the hard way? And they say that we can either forcefully take you. So at this point, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not going to go with these people. I have my parents on the phone. They're screaming at me from the phone saying, don't get in the car. There's something wrong. I don't know why these guys are acting this way. So I asked them, do you have any charges or arrest warrant? And they say, no, we don't have anything. So then I say, then I'm going back home. I'm not coming with you. I'm leaving. After which, one of the male officers, he grabs me and he throws me inside the car. And then there's another, on the other side of the car, when I'm trying to escape, there's this other guy that's standing there with an AK-47 gun, pointing it at me and telling me, don't you dare move from here. So that's how I got picked up from the site. And after that, I get taken to Interpol, where I'm told to write a statement. I tell them I don't want to write a statement, because firstly, you've just picked me up from site, you've kidnapped me, and you've taken me here on a pretext of a meeting when actually you wanted a statement. So then what ends up happening is that the director says that, no, you're going to write a statement or you're not going to be let out of here. So I write the statement in hopes that this will end. But it doesn't end. Instead, what they do is they say that now I'm a suspect in the case, and I'm going to be detained. I've not read what any of my charges are. I've not read what I'm a suspect of. They just say that you are a suspect, you're going to be detained. So for the night, then they keep me in a cell. I think you've seen the cell pictures also. I sent them to you. So they keep me there, and it's a cell that's infested with urine, feces. No human being wants to be living in something like that. So they keep me there. The next day, I'm told that my parents are working out for a police bond of mine. So we're being extorted for about 30,000 USD they're asking, and they're asking for my passport. We give them both things. We give them the 30,000 USD, we give them my passport. I don't get the police bond. Instead, I'm put back in the same cell. Okay? And now it's past, I think, 48 hours, by which it's illegal to keep me anymore. The next day, we get an unconditional court release order. Even though we show this order to the station, they still don't release me. And after that, they're in contempt of court, basically. But nothing seems to be mattering to them. They keep me in illegal detention for about 72 hours more. And then on Friday evening, at about 5 p.m., they come to collect me, and they tell me that for the first time I'm hearing what my charge is now, that I'm being charged with kidnap with attempt to murder. They then proceed to drive me to the lower level magistrate court in Luero, and they charge me with a capital offense, which is not allowed. They should have taken me to a higher court, actually, if they wanted to do everything with procedure, but there was no procedure being followed. Throughout the time I was in detention, they didn't allow me to have a shower, they didn't provide me any food, they didn't provide me any water. It was my parents that were basically being extorted to bring me food and water inside that cell. There was no one from the authority side that was providing any of these necessities for my living. So after I'm being read my charges in the Luero Magistrate Court, they throw me in Luero prison, which they realize they can only keep me there for 2 days because it's a lower level prison in which they keep petty thieves, people convicted for, let's say, land fraud or, smaller level crimes. After keeping me there for the weekend, they shift me to Nakan, where they keep higher level convicts like murderers, human traffickers, rapists over there. So the next 2 weeks I spend in Nakan prison. And that is basically, after that I got bail on 21st. So that's the story there of how it happened.
किस तरह से charges आपके ऊपर लगाए गए? क्या charges थे जो आपके ऊपर लगाए गए थे?
They were kidnapped with attempt to murder. It was a capital offense charge.
किस आदमी के जो charges थे, मतलब आपके residence में रह रहा था, वो कहाँ पे रह रहा था? कौन था वो आदमी?
So, he was an employee of my father. He came with my parents once to visit the site, and I know that there was a dispute happening in between them because of some jewelry that he had taken, and there was a huge loan as well that this guy had. And after that, I believe, my family dismissed him of his position, and basically he was being told to repay back the loan. We have bounce checks as well from him, which my father put in, and this was done in the month of August. So after that is when his family and his son started getting really active and started jumping up and down saying my father's been murdered, my father's been kidnapped, etc. when all of this came to light. And before we had a chance to even explain ourselves, they had already blown this story so out of proportion that everyone really thought that we had murdered him when he was well and alive.
तो जो आदमी मतलब इंटेंशन क्या था उसका, मतलब इतनी जो बड़े बड़े ऑफिसर लेवल उसमें इन्वॉल्व थे, कहीं ना कहीं फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट कहाँ से आ रहा था उसके पास?
The financial support, there's only one way to justify the financial support being given, and that is it was being given by the business competitors. So I know for the fact that the cousin that came through, I believe it was Mukesh's brother that had come, he was actually employed directly by one of our business competitors, and he stays in Kenya, and that's how the local angle came into this whole mix, and he was able to get so many authorities involved at such a large scale.
तो कहीं ना कहीं आपके पिताजी यूएन के पास आपके your father was went. What was all the issue you would like to know?
So I believe after my father realized that there was no way to get me out of the situation because the authorities were just not acting like proper government authorities and acting like thugs instead, he then approached the UN and other foreign means to try to get me back home safely. And what he what went through was basically the pressure from the media side. I believe that there was some pressure that was put on the system, and there was some of the senior officials of that government were made aware of what was going on, and that indeed did help with my bail application and me getting bail across.
तो वहाँ पे जो your business is there in Tanzania,
In Uganda.
In Uganda,
Yes.
how it's affected by your this?
You know, at first they had tried to target the business, but we are a 100% clean business. We only do clean business. We don't do any of the kind of cash deals or any of the tax evasion schemes that the other businesses, the smaller ones, can get away with. So they didn't manage to do anything to the business. And luckily, 1st of October was the day that the plant was commissioning. So while it was commissioning, I was being taken, and now the plant is 100% functioning. No one can take that away from us. It's automated as well, so it makes it easier to run, although it's difficult to take care of the welfare of your employees while you're being so far away and actually not being able to see what the issues are happening on the ground. So in that way, Uganda has made it difficult for us to expand any other business or to consider even going back to do any other business through this ordeal.
तो युगांडा गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से आपको किस तरह से सपोर्ट मिला, या कोई ऑफिसर था कि उसकी तरफ से आपको कोई सपोर्ट मिला, वो जानना चाहेंगे.
I believe the senior level authorities are trying to figure out, what's wrong with the case, and they're trying to do something. But at the same time, it's being blocked by these lower level authorities that seem to just be keeping this case on to extort money. So it's going to take a bit more, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here to share with you my story, because I'm hoping that justice prevails and these corrupt authorities get the punishment that they deserve.
Yeah. How was your factory and employee was affected by due to this?
So, actually, when all of this started and I was detained, they started picking up all of our expat employees. We have about 100 Indian employees on site and about 300, 400 locals that are working there. And they just started picking up all of our expat employees, taking them into the detention center, in which my parents would have to pay these bribes to get them out. They would be extorted, basically, to get the employees out of that situation. And they really ingrained a lot of fear in our employees, and I feel like a lot of expats feel like they're not safe there anymore because of this. I know for a fact, us as a foreign business, we don't feel safe investing anymore in that country. Although we built this project for the last 3 years, and we happily built it. We loved Uganda, and we were so thankful to have the opportunity to invest in this country. It feels like reality hit us in the worst possible way it could as to what this system is actually holding. And that is, the corruption runs in the system at least at the lower levels like a disease.